Hello, I'm Amara Jones here at the Bioneers Conference as a special correspondent for FSTV, here to talk about how that movement, the Bioneers movement, can help heal ourselves, our planet, and our nation at this critical time in history. And that's why we are thrilled to be talking today with DJ Cavem. DJ Cavem is, you name it, first off, the father of eco hip-hop. He's a beatboxer, an MC, just got his PhD in urban ecology, also is a teacher around the world on eco hip-hop from places like Ghana and Azerbaijan to Denver. Also now has a line of juicers, is a vegan chef, is cooking up a cookbook on all the good things that I guess he's learned in the kitchen. And so there's clearly a lot to talk to him about, so we are thrilled to be talking to you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's a beautiful opportunity to be here for my first time speaking at Bioneers, so yeah, what a great opportunity.
Yeah, it was great to see you yesterday and to just hear just the enormous breadth that you have as a person and the way that you're bringing so many different things together in new ways.
Wow.
So first off, what is eco hip-hop, and what is, I'm sure people don't know what that is.
Yeah, well, you know, hip-hop is definitely the culture. Rapping is something you do. So we're talking about environmental hip-hop, eco hip-hop. Hip-hop means higher inner peace, helping other people, also known as being the intelligent movement. To be hip and the hop is the movement, right? That's the form of this asana that we're working with. So as a b-boy, as a yogi, as an organic gardener, as a DJ, as an MC, as a graffiti artist, really combining all the elements of culture, and also including this newest element, which is the 10th element of hip hop, which is health and wellness. Ever since we lost Phife Dawg and you know Nate Dogg and Big Pun, and a lot of these well-known MCs in hip hop culture pretty much are losing their lives from food-related illnesses and cancer-related things that we can definitely shift because of the fact of our health. So that's what I'm all about, incorporating holistic health, organic gardening, culinary climate action, using b-boying as a way to get yogis and more youth involved for this intergenerational dialogue on how to be in conjunction with the planet.
So what brings you to Bioneers? Because, hip-hop and Bioneers are not the most immediate association. Now, given your background, they are, but for an environmental movement, one that is about biological intelligence, what for you is the link between Bioneers and hip-hop, or what Bioneers is about in hip-hop?
Well, definitely the fact that I realize that there's not too many people of color coming to sustainable conferences, period. And then when you're able to have a well-versed conversation on what we're doing to create carpets of question in urban communities who are definitely suffering from food-related illnesses, living in food deserts, not having access to a lot of the agronomy and the holistic health practices that are really needed, and that's what it's all about. We incorporate that and we bring the message to the people. A lot of times people just, when they're coming from here, they might not have the right approach to the hood. They go into the hood and they're like, you should start recycling and composting, and their environmental issue is police brutality.
That's right.
Or maybe heart disease in the community. So I'm really thinking about other ways of showing that food justice matters. We all know that all lives matter. We know Black lives matter, but if you say food justice matters, that includes the animals. That includes the fact that we need to have bioremediation in our soil. That means water is life. All that is so easy to talk about. So I'm a food justice culinary climate action activist. The reason I'm a vegan chef is because I think that if I literally include plant-based ways of eating, not only teaching youth plant-based records, we're going into the schools showing vegetable literacy, doing gang intervention work, literally showing this work that places a lot of times people who come here mostly to these festivals don't feel comfortable going into the communities where I'm from. So that's why hip-hop is the vessel to really talk about what we can do. We can teach kids how to sell crack cocaine. With hip-hop, we can teach them how to sell kale. We can teach them how to sell cabbage. We can get them on the farmer's market. I can create yogis the same way we can create b-boys. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, because a hustler is a hustler, right? If you can hustle anything, right?
Incense and oils.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think often is lost, and you have this connection because you come from the community, is that often communities of color are on the front lines of climate change. You know, refineries, chemical plants, storage facilities for tankers, for oil. All of those mostly, overwhelmingly, are located in poorer communities and poor communities of color. But we don't connect those, right? People oftentimes who attend conferences like this aren't actually living where the fossil fuel industry is dumping, and that's often in communities of color.
Definitely. You know, I'm from one of those communities. I'm from the 5 Points, Swansea, Leary, East Side, Denver, Colorado. That's where I'm from. You know, I grew up smelling, just crazy pollution in the air from, power plants like Cherokee or, Purina Dog Chow, and these things affected me as a youth. It affected my lungs. Not only the fact that, the people in my community didn't really have access to healthy food.
Right.
If you wanted a job, you can either go work at the Pepsi or Coca-Cola bottling company right up the block from where I grew up.
Right.
And then so you have to think about the opportunities that are available. I was really about incorporating the ideas of holistic health and hip hop. So I was going into schools, literally showing youth how to become culinary practitioners and holistic health practitioners, because we think about what we can do. If I can have, 30 kids in the classroom, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you know somebody who has cancer. All hands go up.
Right.
That's an issue. And so those are the things that I think about in health and wellness in our community, how we can really incorporate that. And hip hop is a generation that really needs that conversation. We need more people including this idea of sustainability. I work with numerous artists all the time. I have an album called The Produce Section because of that. I've been invited, to do numerous TED Talks and to the White House to spend time and perform with, the Obama family, and these opportunities have definitely transformed, the way that people see me in the hood, but I still got my card. I can still walk through, the community where I'm from, regardless if I have a PhD or not. And that's what a lot of times people are missing, the fact that, just because you get well educated or you become a part of this academia community, that you can't go back to where you're from. And that's really what is needed. We need to go back into the communities that are suffering. Most of the time people of color who live in equatorial parts of the world, they're going to deal with climate change a lot faster than people who live up north. So when I'm thinking about people from Argentina to Ecuador to Uganda, to Chile, I'm always thinking about how they're going to be affected. So me having access to fair trade food as a chef, organic food, locally grown food, having this conversation in the hood is so important, because a lot of people where I come from, we only consume the way that we've been taught. And that's all about redefining the image of wealth. Right.
And that's a really important point, because one of the lifestyles that's really identified with hip hop is bling bling culture, right? Yeah. And bling is about consumption. It's about a lot of the things that are actually contributing to harming the planet, but it's so core to hip hop. And actually, there are a couple of branches of hip hop. There's conscious hip hop, right, which you probably are more in line with, and then there's mainstream corporate hip hop. And I'm wondering, do you think that there is an opening in bling culture, in sort of what I'll call corporate hip hop, for there to be more of a conversation like you're talking about, particularly when you say every black family's been affected by food-related illnesses, by ecological disaster, by pollution, by all these other things?
Well, of course, hip hop is, like I said, it's a lifestyle. When you're dealing with that cellular memory of melanated people, been rocking jewels and gold and diamonds.
That's true.
And since King Tut.
Since before King Tut.
Really though, what I'm saying?
Since before King Tut.
People got colorful auras for many reasons.
That's right.
And that goes all the way back to, Peru. And so I think about, people in hip hop culture, it's easy to be a king. And sometimes people have a hard time being in that Siddhartha mentality and having everything and being able to release it all, because a lot of people in hip hop community come from nothing.
That's right.
So as soon as they get it, they hold on to it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Some people put money in their mouth. Just walking around with diamonds and gold in their mouth. But I think in the culture, it's really about, the wellness. I know people who put $300 on their ears, but they put $2 in their stomach. I'm like, yo, what's the science of that? How are you eating, wretched food?
Right.
But you're not really, dressing that way. You know what I mean? And so that's what it's all about. Health and wellness and redefining the image of wealth is important. That's the reason why I'm doing culinary climate action workshops. I'm going into the hoods where, they got rims before they got the cars.
Right.
And I'm doing culinary climate action workshops there. Because not only is it important to show the G's who want to sell greens on the corner how to sell greens that they can grow.
Right.
You know what I mean? How they can sell greens that they can steam. How to sell greens that they can go ahead and can for the next season. You know what I mean? Get this conversation rolling so that they can become the next practitioner in the farmer's market, because locally grown food is the best way that we can create the harvester question. And at the same time, you know, these are the health and wellness conversations that we need to have. You know what I mean? More people die from heart disease and police brutality any day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up, you don't see nobody out there marching outside of the fast food talking about shut them down. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what we actually need to have the conversation on, how we can create food as medicine. So the reason why I literally dropped my album, the produce section, is because I wanted people to use food as medicine. I wanted them to have that conversation that is so important to incorporate this idea of what it means to be an earth guardian, what it means to be down for the planet. If you really sprout that life, this is kale life. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is so important nowadays. Like, we're going into these hoods showing that actually how we can become an OG, an organic gardener. And so this is exactly what I see in the conversation. Like, if we can literally go in and give this idea, you know what I mean, we won't have these problems. Of course, there's a lot of corporatized, you know, commercialized this, you know what I mean? If they rock their hat backwards, they go, you know, you're gonna rock their hat backwards. So we just gotta get in the same mission, you know? Industry standard production, industry standard video production, proper marketing, you know what I mean? Right now, I mean, I got a GoFundMe on GoFundMe/Eco Hip Hop. People want to donate towards our movement. It's not a day that I'm not thinking about how I'm going to get this next music video produced so that we can create the image and the visuals so young people can adopt the ideas and the mentality. Only reason they want a 6'4" Impala jumping on the streets because they saw it.
Right.
You know, and so these are the same things that we have to do, is reincorporate the ideas of what manhood looks like, what womanhood looks like, what this identity, you know, crisis that we're dealing with, and the culture of, like, you know, what it actually means to go back into the earth and get grounded. You know, B-boys are the only people in hip hop right now who are actually grounded, because they stay on the ground. You know? And I think about what that means as a gardener and people actually having the patience. I'm always talking to people looking for those onions this big, but they don't know it takes 2 years to grow them. You got to have a lot of patience to be a farmer. Plus, you got to not be in a doomsday mentality. You got to think about the perspective of futurism. You know what I'm saying? That, oh, I planted that potato, so I'm waiting to harvest that next spring. Like, it's a conversation that a lot of times people in hip hop, like, they live in day to day, you know? And so it's about incorporating this idea of holistic health, being literally the acronym of hip hop, higher inner peace, helping other people.
So one of the things that you just raised is how connecting to the planet, connecting to Earth actually changes your relationship to time, right? It can't be about immediate gratification, you know, because it takes 2 years to grow an onion, right? You have to think about that. And I'm wondering, what do you think the type of integration of that patience, how would that change communities if we spread that?
You already know, it's definitely there. Like, when I'm working with the patience of music production with youth, just the vegetable literacy along with the plant-based records workshops, going into schools, connecting cabbages to some copper wires, and then dropping beats on these kids. They literally like, what sorcery is this? You know, like, what is this? And like, and how is this happening? And then, like, I get to, like, I can put information, like, you know, I can put the nutritional value, you know, on a recorded audio track and, like, patch that into, you know, a cabbage or avocado locally grown here in Cali. Like, these are the conversations that we need to have. And, you know, they get it. You know what I mean? When you're able to, like, go into the schools, I already know, like, the younger they are, yo,
the more their minds are open.
Yo, straight up, they down, they get their shoes dirty and everything. By the time I do I'm working with my high school students, yo, they're interested in aquaponics, hydroponics, anything that won't get their shoes dirty. You know what I'm saying? And then the college students is like, so how I make money off of that? How do I flip that? Does that come with free pizza? I'm like, oh snap, you know what I mean? I think about just the relation between what people are really interested in, you know? Like, when you're dealing with people who don't have the power of their purchasing demographic, they really look to their parents to really help them, you know, think about ways, say, you know, how we can transform it. The saddest thing I've ever seen is when I was teaching a summer camp, and there was a youth who came into my classroom, and she was not only dealing with obesity, but she wanted to change. She was a 12-year-old type 2 diabetic, and she wanted to talk to her family about changing the recipes. I didn't see her the next day because she went home talking about she wanted to go vegan, and the parents was like, nah, you ain't going back to that class. No way, you ain't changing these recipes. You know what I mean? It's a lot of intergenerational tyranny. There's a lot of things like, you know, that we pass down in our family, and it's not hereditary diseases, it's food-related illnesses. You know what I mean? And these are things that we can always reprogram and reshift and redefine in our families, and that's what I'm all about. I'm all about going into Thanksgiving, making that, you know, collard greens without the fat back, making that vegan mac and cheese. Yo, my greens, off the chain. I'm trying to tell you, like, and that's what it's all about, like creating those culinary climate action workshops, because people just need to know how to prepare it, let them know how to sell it, how to be able to get it on the corner, be able to like talk to your friends, how to make it beautiful. If food doesn't look good, people don't want to eat it, and that's really what it's about. Like, that's the only way we can really bring people together. In hip hop, it don't matter where you at. It can be rock music, you know what I'm saying, country music. We all gotta eat. Right. You know, and that's why food justice really matters. The only reason I dropped the album, The Produce Section, is because I thought about the fact that I wanted people to eat in the produce section. It was important, you know? And so I got up with other artists who were like, all right, we're gonna drop this song, Cool to Live. We're gonna do another song, Roots, Beans, and Greens. Like, we literally incorporated this. And now, Shuteska is the man, you know what I'm saying? Earth Guardians is the squad. I'm on the turntables. I'm really here for the youth. I'm representing for the young people. Like, us elders, you know what I mean? We gotta really pass the torch. You know, it's hard right now. You know, a lot of us haven't got the acknowledgement, and it's not about that. You know, we really gotta make our bet. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's about creating that, you know, that conversation that we don't compromise the future for young people. Mm-hmm. And that's what hip hop should be about. You know, like, we can't be the jazz artist who was hating on the young hip-hop artists when they first started, and we can't be the old golden age conscious hip-hop artists hating on all these little young thugs. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, they got little, young, and boy in their name. Just because that, we can't, you know, feel that they don't have the potential to become a man or to grow into the ideas of what the culture of, like, is really all about, which is just protecting the people. It was always about protecting the people. And that's why we stopped the violence in the community with breakdancing and using graffiti art as a real form of, you know, like, you know, just the competition and the MCing. Like, it can be so beautiful if we acknowledge really what our struggles are, and it always has to go within. You know, we gotta work on compassion, work on that peace and meditation, and that's what it's all about. Hip hop is gonna be on its way when we focus on that first.
One of the things that we were talking about is what eco hip hop is. And not only is it all the things that you just described in terms of, you know, changing yourself emotionally or spiritually and all these other ways, but there's a way that physically in reality you do that through your work. I mean, you create plant-based records. Yeah. And you create beats with vegetables. Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about what's a plant-based record and why a plant-based record? And secondly, how in the world do you drop beats with vegetables?
Yo, I got up with this dope graffiti artist, friend of mine named Thomas Evans, Detour 303. Check him out on Instagram. Yo, this kid, like, literally linked me into this art project that he was working on, which was turning paintings into this electronic, like, beat machine. And then we was like, all right, cool, homie. Like, we were just sitting and, like, drinking juice one day, and it was like, yo, what if I did that with vegetables? And then he was like, yo, that's a great idea. We started playing around with some copper wires, connected that to a homemade MIDI device, connected that to Ableton Live, and, like, literally set it up to where we're able to, like, make beats with beats. Golden ones, red ones, you know what I'm saying? And, like, you know, and using it as a conductor, just like lighting up, you know, a potato, you know, with the energy that it holds, you know what I'm saying? It conducts that electricity because the water.
So it changes the sound, right? As the sound passes through it.
It's powerful. And not only, like, we're charging the food, you know what I mean? But, like, when we're done making all our music, that's what I'm saying. Like, yo, my kitchen is the recording studio. My recording studio is the kitchen. My healthcare looks like a blender and a juicer. Like, life can be fresh if you want it to be, and that's the only way I thought about it. Like, you know, I'm a b-boy. Like, all right, the only way to be fresh is to eat fresh. So hip-hop culture is important. So we started the plant-based records because we felt like it was really, really important. Like, we did a TED Talk about it, TEDxCSU earlier this year, and then that's set up to where we're able to actually go into these workshops and work with the schools and, like, literally go in. And, like, these kids, like, they bug out. They sit there, like, you know, especially after we chop it up and throw it in the blender. They're like, hold up, you just, like, that was just an 808, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, when you on, like, a jazz set, but, like, yeah, you know, clap your hands together, you know, I got Cabbage on drums. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got Basil on bass. You're like, you know, it's a different vibe, you know what I mean? To acknowledge how food is medicine and how you can play with your food and like really incorporating that idea. So yeah, man, like my man Detour, Thomas Evans, Plant-Based Records, you know, DJ Cavem, we had to lock it all down, like just because we felt like it was important to show people, you know, that like not only you can grow the food, but you can sell the food, you can prepare it, you can make beats with it, you know what I'm saying? And then we can actually show like, you know, how hip hop is really important. You know what I mean? Because this is the best way to get youth involved, yo. Like, we want youth to get involved and become like organic gardeners. Like I said, it's so easy. I can make a beat and make, you know, and create a stripper. You know what I'm saying? I can create a drug dealer with hip hop. I can create, you know, we know what that does. So how come we're not creating chefs, yogis, you know what I mean? Organic gardeners, things that we actually need. You know what I'm saying? I'm sick of seeing, you know, 14-year-olds and 17-year-olds turn their grandparents into to crackheads. You know what I mean? Because of they need to keep the market flowing. And these are things that we can definitely shift in our community. We can easily get them hooked on kale. You know what I'm saying? There's too many people addicted to sugar. You know?
That's right.
There's more people addicted to sugar in my hood than they're addicted to crack.
That's the whole country.
Yo, so that's what the conversation is. You know, if we can use hip hop to change that, I'm all in it.
So there's another thing you're about to do, which is, there's another part of hip hop, of course, which is movement, which is dance. And you're somehow about to blend hip hop and yoga. So what is that? Can you talk about that?
So yeah, B-boys have definitely been the core of one of the most purest elements in untampered with form since the beginning of hip hop. So from what I know, a lot of the people from Rock Steady Crew, from Lords of Finesse, from the Zulu Nation, they literally have been incorporating yoga for forever. And the fact that it's still so worldwide and still so respected, there's new styles that come out, but you'll never stop a head spin. Everything that you see in that strength in that core is gonna happen. And so we got this really big event that's happening back home in Denver. And the Breaking Convention, which is a national event that's, international event that's happening. And it normally happens in overseas in like Europe and all that. They literally decided to come to Denver this time. And they felt that it was important to incorporate the 10th element of hip hop because they realized what's happening. Okay, we're losing a lot of people, you know, because of the fact that everybody want to pop bottles, you know what I'm saying, and wear the nicest clothes, but they eating the most cheapest food. So this conversation is important to include young people and how we can actually like encourage the next generation to consume consciously. So as a B-boy, we set up this event with the rest of the squad. My man Jonesy flew out from London. You know what I mean? My man Ian from the B-Boy Factory, who organizes this beautiful B-Boy collective choreography studio in Denver. And we set up with all the B-Boys that we know and the breakdancers and the B-Girls to like actually come together. Because like this is what it's about. Like if we see the fact that the land is being depleted, you know, the youth are becoming obese. There's this big issue of heart disease and food-related illness in our hood, and all we got to do is just break dance and have juice-a-thons? Yo, straight up, you know what I mean? Like, so we got a pop-up juice bar happening on November 4th, and we do these things because we feel like it's important. You know, I've been doing, you know, Roots, Beans, and Greens, these little pop-up juice bars for like years, and I had to slow down for a second because like I realized that I needed to create a different approach because I was creating, you know, obstacles and for people that's like, man, I'm getting access to food that a lot of times people in my hood didn't have access to. So I had to like do these workshops, but it didn't stop there. The dopest thing that happened with the breakdance movement and hip hop in the community of environmental hip hop is when we got a proclamation from the mayor of Denver and in Baltimore. So we literally have our own day. Keep It Fresh Day is June 14th. So we got to acknowledge the fact that they love the movement that we're doing. We're incorporating this wellness so well that, you know, it's just like Earth Day, but just with a little hip hop sprinkled on top. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got people posting they plant-based plates, you know what I'm saying, on Instagram and Facebook. Like, if you look online, look up Keep It Fresh Day and just hashtag that, you're going to see all these beautiful plant-based recipes. People attempting and trying their best to show how they can be in solidarity. I was like, yo, this is one day that we can literally transform the world. Like, okay, we got a meatless Monday. We understand that, you know, the Amazon is being depleted because of the fact that they're creating, you know, deforestation for more cattle farms. There's a mad methane gas. If we could actually grow the food in the hood, we can create that carbon sequestration at the same time. Plus, it's a green job and you know, you can put it on the wall. You can grow food on your wall. You can drip irrigation. You know what I'm saying? You can grow it on your rooftop. Like, I'm all about urban farming. And I'm also about rural farming, but also bringing youth from the urban communities to the nature. You know what I mean? So that's what it's all about. It's like Keep It Fresh Day was that attempt. And, you know, we're just doing this on a national level. Wherever I go, you know, we're making it happen. You know what I'm saying? Internationally, if it's underground, we're going underground. They're going to have to put their ear to the street here because it's going to be that way. Because we really want people to understand that, like I said, higher inner peace, helping other people. Health inside people, health outside people. The intelligent movement. Hip-hop is a way of life. It's not just rapping. People associate each element differently, but they don't understand, and that's what it's all about. You know, we're creating the understanding. You know, young people know what's up. You know, this ain't just Snapchat. This ain't just Instagram. This is life, yo. People like live and breathe hip hop. It's like it's a religion. You know what I'm saying? And it's good to see that it's not just about the rapper's delight. It's not just about, you know, where the word came from. It's really about the rhythm and the poetry and just things that we have as one of the last and one of the greatest American art forms outside of jazz.
Absolutely. Well, there's so many ways in which you are helping to transform and push hip-hop forward. Thank you for taking the time to join us. I can't believe we're out of time. There's so much more to talk about, but I'm just thrilled to know you, get to know you because of Bioneers. I'm sure our audience is equally thrilled to know about you and your work, and I'm just so excited to see how things continue to unfold because clearly what you're doing is so needed. So thank you so much.
Thank you. You already know. See me in the produce section.
We will. So one of the things that people say about Bioneers is that it's the greatest concentration of the smartest people that you haven't heard of, and clearly our guest today, DJ Cavem, is one of those people. You can follow him on Instagram. It's the best social media platform, he says, and also has a website. So follow him, get to know about eco hip hop, and figure out ways that you can get involved and helped out. Thank you for joining us today.
Peace.